Hello, everyone, and it's me. As you can see, there's a face cam involved, and the reason for the face cam being involved is simply because I want to let you guys see my face when I do these. I don't know if I did it last time I did a ranking, or like made a tier list of stuff, but part of me kind of wants to go through these. So what you see here is, as you can see, there's like old school games, or just like for example, we have like blue. I believe this is silver, sapphire. What I'm doing here today, make it very simple, cut right to the chase. I am ranking the games based on how much fun I had with them. Now, what you see is not what you get. What I mean by that is just because you see Pokemon Blue does not mean it's just Pokemon Blue. It means all of Gen 1 as a whole. So, for example, you get Red, Blue, Yellow. You get Leaf Green, Fire Red. You get Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. So, like, you get the remakes. You get everything that's in Gen 1, everything like that, right? Same thing with Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4. Almost Gen 5. Maybe I'll update this. It will be super simple. It'd probably be super simple for me to update this. But as you see from the rankings, on the left-hand side here, we have S, A, B, C, and give it another go. Because I personally believe that out of like the main story of Pokemon games, I have never had a truly bad experience with a game. And so the reason why the give it another go is there is just because I might have played it once or twice and I might not have been like paying attention to it too much. Because you got to remember, I've been playing this game since I think it was Fire Red and Leaf Green came out. Because the one I remember the most is I was in middle school, probably elementary school. I got to look it up. But I know for a fact Heart Gold and Soul Silver was the one that I bought or I got that I remember the most because we got the little Pokewalker things. And I was super excited for that. And so like that's the first one I remember that playing with someone else, I should say, like having a friend to play with or knowing other people. Because before it was just me by myself playing Pokemon. Like we were awkward little kids back in elementary school. So like we really didn't talk to each other about video games. We're just like, oh, I play that too. Never had a linking cable. That's a thing. That's a thing I never had was a linking cable for my Game Boy Advance or like my Game Boy or Game Boy Color. Never had those. Was I upset about it? Yes. But that's neither here nor there. That's a different story for a different time. So we're going to get started right away. And we're going to start off, as you can see, they're somewhat in order. I hope I got them in order. We're going to start off with Generation 1. Now, Generation 1 is the one that started it all, red, blue, and yellow. Or if I'm not mistaken, in Japan, it was red, blue, and green. I might be wrong there. But with this, I really did enjoy the aspect of it. Like, I really did enjoy Gen 1 when I first played it, because like I said, Fire Red Leaf Green is the first time I played Generation 1, and then I got introduced to playing Red and Blue and Yellow after the fact. And it's the stone for everything that went well. Like, it is the first stone in the journey that is Pokemon, right? Here's the thing about it. The very first Pokemon games, in my opinion, are so busted. But that's what makes them challenging at the same time. So, for example, if I'm remembering the layout and everything correctly, I'm pretty sure it's Sabrina, the Psychic type gym leader. Her Alakazam, if she has an Alakazam, I'm pretty sure, just Alakazam in general, will critically hit you almost every time, if not, or every other time, if not every time. The reason for that is because in the original Pokemon, if I remember correctly, the very first generation of Pokemon was the critical hits were based off of speed, not just random chance. So Alakazam and Staryu? I only say that as a question because I always mix up Starmie and Staryu. I think Starmie's the last evolution. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Starmie. So Starmie and Alakazam will usually critically hit you because they're so fast, which is ridiculous. And then, like, on top of that, someone like the visual glitches, stuff like that. And, like I said, overall, stepping stone for everything else. Then they came out, Fire Red, Leaf Green. Fire Red and Leaf Green is probably one of the more iconic ones that everyone plays or goes back to and plays. It's the one that's, like, mainly made for, like, ROMs and stuff like that. Or, like, fan-made games usually based out of either the Kanto region. So, for that alone... Not that alone, but for that being like one of the big reasons is that it's something that everyone keeps going back to and everyone keeps having fun with. I think I'll give this a solid S. Just because like all the remakes, all the games in general, everything like that, like even the Let's Go series. So for some of you who don't know, the Let's Go series is very, very let me hold your hand through the game, right? But for someone like me who likes competitively battling, who likes challenging games such as like ROM hacks or just other Pokemon games, I really do enjoy having a break from it, you know? And that's what the Let's Go games are. Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu were very nice in the fact of let me just sit back, enjoy the music, enjoy the game, and take it at my own pace, you know? Because there is some challenge to it, but it's not a hard game, if that makes sense. It is the byproduct of Pokemon Go in Pokemon put together, and you get Pokemon Let's Go, or Let's Go Pokemon, or Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. So in that regard, that is another reason why it's in the S tier, is because it is a game that you can actually play to relax, where you don't have to stress about a gym battle, you don't have to stress about catching a legendary. It's just a game that is very fun, that I'm very fond of, and I very much enjoy. And like I said, I own every version of Pokemon in the main series game, because I have Red, Blue, Yellow on the DS, Silver, Gold, Crystal on the DS. And for some of you who don't know, Nintendo came out and they like quote unquote re-released. They didn't necessarily remake them. They just re-released those games on the DS. And then I have, what was the other one? I think I have Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I don't have the original Sapphire and all that. That's something I want to do later on, is I want to get Leaf Green, Fire Red, and then I already have Gold and Silver, and then Ruby and Sapphire for the Game Boy, just to have them, you know? It's kind of like my PS2. I have a PlayStation 2 still. Only has one game on it, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, because it's my favorite PlayStation game ever. Am I biased? Probably, because I've played a lot of PlayStation 2 games, and that'd probably be a whole nother list eventually. If you guys want to see something like that, is my favorite, or like a list of PlayStation 2 games that I've played, because it's crazy how much I played the PS2. The PlayStation 1 kind of. PS2 was probably the most I gamed on a single system, or at least the most games I played with a single system. PlayStation 3, not so much. PlayStation 4, barely. I had like 3 games on it at all times. I really didn't play much. Still don't have a PS5, switched to PC around that era. Anyways, I'm off topic. But yes, Generation 1 is going to be an S tier for me, because like I said, all the other things that came with it, everything else that comes with it, it's so much fun to see the original starters, the original 151, and just like Team Rocket, you know? Giovanni, that whole, like, the story is really good to me. I really like the music and stuff in there. I love what I call the Ghost Tower, which, you know, you find the Marowak or the Marowak Ghost. It's so cool. It's just such a cool aspect of the game. I really enjoy it. Now, moving on. Oh, one more thing before anything else. One thing I always forget about Generation 1 is the battle you have to get to, or the battle you have with Blue, or whatever you name your rival in the game. When you get to the very first city, like just when you go get what is it? When you have to deliver Oak's parcel, so you have to go to the store, the cashier gives it to you, you go all the way back and go back to that first city. It's when you go left. I think it's Route 22. I might be wrong, but it's when you go left. It's before Victory Road. There is a battle with your rival that I always forget about. Every time I play that game, I forget about it. So when I go up there, I'm like, oh, cool. I forgot to heal. I have no potions, so I'm about to lose. Almost every time that like battle will just infuriate me, because I just forget. It's not the game's fault. It's my fault for being, just dumb. But on to the next one. Very excited for this one. For some of you who don't know, Gold, Silver, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gen 2 is my favorite generation out of all of them. And am I saying it's the best generation? No. Am I saying it's a generation that is like in the top 3? Maybe. I'll give it because I don't want to be biased, because if I was being biased, it would go here. It would honestly go here with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, right? But if I am being honest, Gold and Silver, I love the aspect of it. I love the tower. I love how they utilize Lugia and Ho-Oh. I love the 3 elemental. Okay, so I don't know what you guys say, but I've heard them called the elemental dogs. I've heard them called the elemental cats, the elemental beasts, or the mythical beasts, mythical cats, stuff like that. But Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, or some people say, what is it, Raikou? I've heard that one. I think that's the only one I've heard the difference between the two. But Raikou is my favorite of the 3. And this game had its remakes, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, with the little Pokewalkers. Those things are probably one of the coolest things I've ever experienced while being a kid growing up. Do I wish I still had mine? Yes. But I was a dumb little kid, and I'm like, oh, I need money for the new game, so I'm going to sell my game plus the Pokewalker and get it half off. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time and grab some stuff that I had as a child and keep it, because, oh boy. For example, my Game Boy Color, and my Game Boy Advance, I wish I kept those. I don't know what happened to them. I think I just lost them along the way. Oh, I wish I still kept them. But anyways, going for what it is with Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, I am going to place this. It's going to hurt me to place it here, but I'm going to put it at a solid B. The reason I put it at a solid B is because I think the games, as they progress throughout and get more remakes and get more playability through them, it basically, to me, has become like the most average game of them all. Because the rest of the games that come through are going to be somewhat better, if not a little worse, because some of them at launch will have some issues and then they fix them along the way, or the story might not be complete, stuff like that. And so with that being said, with what it is, we are going to move straight into Gen 3, because I don't have much to say about Gen 2, because like I said, it's my favorite generation. I love it, and it's just always a fun time. I love every city that I go into. I love the music. I love everything that fits with it. Overall, everything about that game is so much fun, and I enjoy it, but I can't be biased and put it in S tier. I really cannot. Because, like I said, every remake that comes with almost every generation so far has something more to include with it, has a better story, or has something that will keep you going back to it. And I'll come back to that topic when we get there, which is probably going to be next. So with that short introduction and short conversation about the second generation, we move on to third generation, which is going to be your Sapphire, your Ruby, and your Emerald. This is where Team Magma and Team Aqua, I forgot Aqua I think it's Aqua, I might be wrong there. You can tell which one I played. I like Kyogre. Or not Kyogre, I like Groudon. So we have Sapphire and Ruby. Those are the main two that people played. I played Emerald. That's where, this is where you get Kyogre, Rayquaza, Groudon, those three introduced. I believe Latios are in here. I think that's Gen 4 is the next one I'm thinking of, so I'll save that. But is this where the Regis come in? I might be wrong, because there's so many Pokemon nowadays that I kind of mix up which Pokemon get involved in which game, but I'm pretty sure. No, that might be next gen. But long story short, Generations 2 and 3, or Generations 3, is very fun in my experience, and I've played, I don't know how many times I've played Ruby and Sapphire, like the originals before Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out. I want to say at least 3 times, and then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, and let me just say, because of what happened with that, I'm going to put it here, because the aspect, hit my microphone. Anyways, the reason why I like it so much, and I put it at an A tier, is simply because I love the way that it kind of, how do I explain it? It kind of transitions into more of, I guess, a better story, if that makes sense. Like, the story seems more fleshed out, given there's not much story in the first 2 games, but there's stuff to love, like simple things. For example, like Gen 1, Giovanni is a bad guy. He's the leader of Team Rocket, and he's also a gym leader. So you're like, what? That's crazy, Generation 2 has it to where you find out, God, I know it's my favorite gen, but once the camera rolls, I forget everything about everything, But it's the storyline that I liked about that part, like the main story, or the main key story part. God, I need to learn how to speak when I do these. Is when you find out that Ho-Oh resurrected 3 beasts, or like 3 like Pokemon that died in the tower. I think it's the Sacred Tower, and it's the reason why you have Raikou Suicunense. Like, it's a really cool story of like rebirth and stuff, because it's a phoenix, But when it comes to Sapphire, Ruby and Sapphire, I like the aspect of 2 teams that just want to see the world bow to them. But when they mess with something that they have no concept of, they have to be like, hey, we need your help. We messed up, and we now understand that we messed up. So they didn't know that, like, Kyogre is going to flood the world, or that Groudon's going to burn everything as it comes. And I was like, Like, it's going to come out of the ground. It's going to start burning everything away. There's no more water, no more oceans, nothing. And it's, in a sense, to me, what that reminds me of is like when humans in movies and TV shows mess with like a primordial being or mess with like godlyhood, and they don't understand what it means to have that power. And once they get it, it just backfires. So I was like, okay, that's actually really cool. Then we get the remakes where it's somewhat of the same story, a little bit here and there, where it's quote unquote open world ish, where you can fly around on Latios and Latias. And not the introduction of Mega Evolutions, but Mega Evolutions are in this one. And it's really, really cool to see something like the starters get the Mega Evolutions, because there's just something about having, like, what was it? Mega Swampert, Mega Treecko, Mega Blaziken, right? All of them are really cool. They have, like, power boosts or, like, certain things they get that make them, I think, just disgusting. So I know Mega Sceptile. I said think of Treecko, I think. Mega Sceptile becomes a dragon grass type, or a grass dragon type, which I think is cool. Swampert is still water ground, but it's just, if I'm not mistaken, it's just defensive. It's just bulky. And then you have Mega Blaziken, which gets speed boost, which is just ridiculous. Excuse me for burping. It's just super fast, hits hard, it's insane. And then, like, all the other Megas that come with it. You have, like I said, Mega Latios, Mega Latias. I believe Mega Mewtwo is in there. I think you get both X and Y unless he only evolve, or he only Mega Evolves once in that game, and you specifically have to go to X and Y to play it. But overall, because of the remakes, it is an A. Only reason it's not an S is because I feel like they could have personally done more with certain things. Like, I think, in my personal opinion, I would have loved if they added, let's say, like, a third team to the remake, which, like, their whole premise is trying to stop the other two teams because they don't comprehend the power of the primordial beings, but they understand what is going to happen. So, for example, since, like, Team Aqua sees, like, this, you know, say they see, like, this prophecy on a wall from an ancient civilization. They're like, oh, okay, so he's going to bring us this. And Team Magma sees another one of Groudon. They're like, oh, he's going to bring us this. This team is the team that saw the piece in between that's like, hey, they're going to have a war, you know? But overall, like I said, it's an A. Is it better than Gold and Silver? If I'm being honest, yes. In my heart, no. But I really do like it. I do, like I said, I go back and play it from time to time because it's very fun. I do enjoy it very much. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, I think Generation 4 was the first one to do, like, a battle tower, a battle tree, or, like, something you could do after the game and battle the champions, or, like, battle just random trainers and get to, like, a certain amount of wins to win stuff. But I really do like the after. I think, is that this one that might be the Battle Mason? I think that's X and Y. But Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire have that. It's really fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. And then Mega Evolutions being in competitive was super fun. Super great. Next, and probably everyone's favorite, if I have to say, like, out of every generation, a lot of people love this generation of Pokemon. This one is going to be Generation 4, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. I own all these. I'm currently playing through Platinum for, like, the 4th time? 5th? I was always a Diamond guy. I love Dialga. Love everything about Dialga. It's just a cool design. Steel Dragon type. There's only technically 2 Pokemon with that typing. The only reason I say technically is because one of them evolves and keeps the typing. So you can say 3, but I say 2 because it's the same Pokemon just evolving. Okay, I guess it is 3. Let's go with 3 because technically Pikachu and Raichu are different Pokemon, but they come from the same species. So Duraludon, Archuraludon, and Dialga are the only ones with Steel Dragon type, and it's such a disgusting typing. It's so good. So good. But I thoroughly enjoy it. I do love Giratina. I do love the legendaries. I do love the gym leaders. I do love... Oh, I forgot to mention. Let me look this up really quick, because if I am not mistaken, his name... Yep, okay, so yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's in this. Yeah. Okay. So one of my favorite gym leaders, if I am remembering this game correctly, which I'm pretty sure I am, is Crasher Wake. I'm pretty sure it's Gen 4. pretty sure. I looked it up. Let me look it up again because I just zoom read, but I'm pretty sure he is in this game because, like I said, I'm playing through it again. It has been, I think, 4 years since I've played through this again, or like played through Gen 4. But I'm more than positive. Yeah, he's in there. Okay, just making sure. But yeah, when I first got introduced to Crasher Wake, I really enjoyed him. 1, I like wrestling. Yeah, it looks like he has a mask on. 2, if I'm not mistaken, he was under a waterfall. Like I'm introduced to him sitting down under a waterfall. I'm like, that is dope. I like that. Plus Team Galactic. I do, out of every generation, when it comes to like the storylines of the bad guys, I thoroughly enjoy Team Galactic because Cyrus is just a straight up psychopath. He has no emotions. He does not care about his teammates, doesn't care about you. He doesn't even care about his own Pokemon from what it looks like in the games. He is just all around psychotic. Just, I don't know if you caught that because my mic cuts off some, but he's all around just psychotic. Everything about him screams to me a solid villain, you know? Excuse me. And his whole purpose in the games is to essentially be like, I want to see Giratina. I don't want to see God in this world. I want to see the devil. And I want the devil to bend to my will in a sense. And it's like he wants to create his own world. So, you know, he gets to that point. He gets to what I forgot what they call it in the games, but I know it's like where everything's basically flipped, everything's warped. It's Giratina's world. And you get to go there against him and everything like that. It's such a cool game. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's so much fun. And just the like legendaries that are in it, the like expansive expansion that they go on to it, because I believe it is Generation 4 where you get like Mamoswine, Electivire, Magmortar, where you get the other Pokemon. Oh, I forgot about that. Generation 2 introduced baby Pokemon and Steel typing. And I think Generation 2 also had the split between special and physical defense. So yeah, Gen 2 really split the game up like, hey, let's do this. But yeah, Generation 4, I'll always say is up here as S tier, because even with the remakes, people don't like Brilliant Diamond. I think it's Brilliant Diamond Glistening Pearl or Glistening Diamond Brilliant Pearl. I don't remember. I have both of them. I just don't remember. But like even with the remakes, I still think they're good because a lot of people were expecting differences in the game, but it's just basically like a new game, a different art. It's a new game, but it's a different art style. Same mechanics, different art style, new game, right? It's not a new game as in like we're remaking it, making it better, getting rid of glitches, getting rid of this, getting rid of that. No, it's just basically, it's the same game, just looks newer. It's just running on newer systems, right? Which I understand why they did that, and I'm okay with that because a lot of people want a way to go back and play certain games and get Pokemon from those generations. So like Generation 4, 3, 2, and 1, because some of you don't know who are only played Switch. The DS used to have something called the Pokebank. And what Pokebank is essentially like Pokemon Home, where you can switch Pokemon from this app on your DS to other games, and vice versa, so on and so forth. Except with, I think, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, once those came out, I think you can only go to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and they stay there. But now that that's over, and they shut down Pokemon Bank, I think Pokemon Home might let you do it through DS. I might be wrong. I don't think they still support that. I might be off there, but who knows? Because I haven't taken anything from my DS since the newest game, or since Sword and Shield came out, and I moved everything over to Pokemon Home. I have all the Pokemon there. Because as of right now, I have every single Pokemon except 3. The 3 Pokemon I do not have are Cobalion, the newest, what's its name? It's like Peach Runt or something. It's the newest one from like the DLC of Scarlet and Violet. It looks like it literally looks almost like not like a acorn or a peach. I can't remember its name. And then there's a third one that I'm missing. What's his name? Iron something. It's the Terrakion future variant. It's not Iron Tusk. It's something like that. I forgot what it is. It Iron Tusk actually? Because Iron Treads is the Donphan future variant. It might be Iron Tusk. But that one. So those are the 3 Pokemon that I'm missing. And I only bring that up because, you know, it kind of bothers me, but I'll get them eventually. But yeah, Generation 4 is at S because, in my opinion, is the most talked about generation. It is the one that a lot of people got introduced to Pokemon. It is the one that a lot of people go back to and play, whether it be like a ROM hack. And it's like, I wouldn't say a ROM hack, just a ROM. Because the most played one, in my opinion, like I said earlier, is Generation 1. But Generation 4 is one where people will go back and play the ROM on their computer, on their phone, and just play through like the normal game just because they want the speed up button and such. But overall, it is probably the most talked about because everything about it is really good. The gym leaders, I think, are really good. The teams in there, the bad guy team, which is Team Galactic, is really good. Team Galactic, by the way, too, I really enjoy that there's a lot of bosses, or like there's like mini bosses that have actual names: Jupiter, Mars, Saturn. Like they actually have actual names of the galaxy or like of the solar system. And I was like, that's actually really cool. I really like that. I really enjoy that. And with all that being said, I'm going to leave it where it is at S. I might come back to it later to talk more about it. But I am going to move on to Pokemon X and Y. No, Black and White, Generation 5. Now, before I get started, I will say I have only played these games maybe once or twice. I believe it is twice. And when it comes to Pokemon Black and White 1 and 2, I played both of them. I like 2 better because I love the aspect of going back to a game in the future. What that means is Black 2 and White 2, if I'm not mistaken, is it 2 years in the future or is it 5? Let me see real quick. I believe it's 2. Yeah, it's 2 years after the events of Pokemon Black and White. Yeah. And it's kind of cool seeing like some of the gym leaders are different, obviously, because like, you know, there's game exclusives. So like, you know, each game has different things. But it's cool seeing the different gym leaders in the sense of, oh, no, it's not a version exclusive. They're just a different gym leader or some different Pokemon that might have got introduced later on. And it's just overall, Black and White and Black 2 and White 2, like Generation 5, has, if I'm not mistaken, still has the biggest Pokédex entries. Like, it had so many Pokemon getting introduced. It is wild. And if I am remembering this correctly, Black and White is when probably one of the most talked about Generation 5 Pokemon came out. But let me double check again. I really should have done research before this, but that's okay. I like going off the top of my head instead of being professional because that's what my whole life has been about. So, yes. Your name is Just Some. There you are. If I'm not mistaken, you are from Generation 5, correct? Am I remembering this correctly? Hold on. Ah, I do have it wrong. Oh, I really thought he was in here. He is not. Okay, so I was wrong. I'll talk about that in the next generation. But about this generation, I will say there is a lot of cool Pokemon that came out of this generation. So, for example, the ones that I really like are Krookodile. Because there's Krokorok, Sandile, Krokorok, or I think it's Krookodile and, no, Krokorok and then Krookodile. I like Krookodile. He was a menace to just everything I played. Anything that was competitive or just like playing the game against friends or any just random people at like a card store or anything like that. I was going to say card shop there, but I say card store. Card store. He's on everyone's team. He was just so good. He was pretty speedy back then. He hits hard, gets a Moxie, I think he had originally. Another one was Darumaka. Into, which one did you go? Darmanitan. But Darmanitan was pretty cool. Fast, hit hard. Give it, what was it? You don't even have to give it a scarf. You just give it a choice band, flare blitz, everything. Pretty much KOing everything there is. You can give it a speed scarf, and then it will outspeed a majority of it. It's just overall a very disgustingly fun Pokemon to play with. Chandelure was really fun. I forgot you were here. Hydreigon. Or Hydreigon, some people say. I'd say Hydreigon. This thing is fast, hits hard, is a special type Dragon Dark or Dark Dragon type. And since fairies weren't introduced until when? Gen 6? This thing was running house on everybody and everything. So if you had this, Darmanitan, and Krookodile, you're set up for life essentially. It's very good. It's very solid mon. Nowadays, not so much, depending on how you build it, because like I'm not a fan of like the current meta of Pokemon competitive battling right now. I wouldn't say the meta, I just say like overall. Because last time I tried playing, there was a Rayquaza. You can basically play any Pokemon. I'm like, that's not fun. Like I might just be too picky because the whole point of Pokemon is bringing the team you want and playing against it, and that's the challenge. But I love the aspect of playing the game without legendaries. You know, like being a person who can make a team without legendaries. And I don't know why that's a problem with me. I think that's just because I like the anime person where I'm like, oh, they did it in the anime. And, you know, I just be picky. So that's just me. Anyone who brings legendaries to a Pokemon battle, keep doing it. If you love doing it, if that's what you love doing, don't listen to me. I am simply bantering about things I like or dislike and like and dislike, I guess. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean you have to stop doing it. Keep doing it. If you have fun bringing a Rayquaza, if you have fun bringing Giratina, Dialga, Poke, any of those, have fun doing it. I am not going to stop you. I'm not going to get mad at you. Just have fun doing it. But with that being said, overall, I think, in my honest opinion, it is going to be below Gold and Silver because to me, it's not very memorable. Now, a lot of people might get mad at me for that because this is where the Swords of Justice come in. Terrakion, Virizion, Cobalion, and what is your name? You look like a little pony that turns into a unicorn. That's a water fighting type. Oh, okay. There's so many Pokemon. I just keep forgetting your names. Where are you? Ah, Keldeo. Yes, Keldeo. The movie's fire. I love the Pokemon movie that introduced Keldeo. And overall, Keldeo is just really fun, really cool. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love its design too. It has almost like a pony mermaid-esque design with it. And then it turns into like a unicorn, obviously. Well, I guess unicorn mermaid is how I see it. It's very cool. I thoroughly enjoy it. This is where you also get the genie line. What I mean by that is you get Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, and then you get Genesect, Meloetta, Kyurem White, Kyurem Black, Zekrom, Reshiram. Oh, Volcarona is another one that was so busted they had to change one of its moves later on. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, they changed one of its moves later on because it was disgusting. But I only say it's less memorable, like gameplay-wise, as to more memorable Pokemon-wise. You know, in all honesty, if that's the case, I think I might move it higher than Gold and Silver because there's more Pokemon that people remember from Black and White and Black 2, White 2, Generation 5 as a whole than they remember in Generation 2. Because Generation 2 is more of like, let me fill in the gaps from Generation 1, where Generation 5 is like, let me have complete freedom of what I want to make. You know, like I'm going to give you a lot of cool stuff and everything like that. And just basically, I'm going to have complete like creative freedom. Because even Generation 4 is like, let me finish the line. So Generation 1's like, let me start the line. Generation 2 is like, let me begin the line. Like, let me do like a precursor. Whereas Generation 4 was like, let me end some stuff that you have. Generation 3 is like, let me just introduce cool things. One I forgot about was Generation 3 is everyone's favorite dragon ground type that should be a dragon bug type is Flygon. Another shout out real quick that I want to do that I forgot to do for Sapphire Gen 3. I'm going to keep doing this because I'm really bad at researching and, you know, making up a list of things. Generation 3 had, what's your name? Groudon. Groudon has a really cool design to me. Like I don't know what it is. It just looks really cool and thought I'd shout it out. Salamence is another one that I had to shout out. That's really cool. Metagross is in there too. Was it Tyranitar? No, that's 2, isn't it? Yes. 2 Tyranitar. It was pretty cool. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But going back to Generation 5, it has the biggest lineup of Pokemon. Excadrill was another shout out there. Like, I just remember Generation 5, the Pokemon later on as they get better, because, you know, they're doing, like, different, oh, how can I forget? Amoonguss, still used today, to this very day. Yes, B. It is more memorable, not for its gameplay, but for the Pokemon that came out of it, so it is a B, which, like I said, if we're doing Generation 3, yeah, Generation 3 is still up there, because there's a lot of, like, once Megas come back, there's going to be a lot of Pokemon from Gen 3 that people are going to be using. But yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that came out of Generation 5 that a lot of people still use today or that we still look at. And it's just, goodness gracious, there's so many cool ones. I'm just looking at them and just appreciating them for what they are. Now, with all that being said, Team Plasma was dope too, both in white and white, black and white, and black 2 and white 2, and then like 2 years later, even after, it was pretty cool because it got like more technologically advanced, and it still was pretty dope. Overall, their team was pretty cool. I liked the aspect of them. I like how they looked. I like the design of them. But overall, I think the game is more memorable for the Pokemon than it is the actual storyline. Like, N is in there. He's pretty cool. But, like, the storyline, I don't think, out of every Pokemon game, I feel like people will not remember Black 2, White 2, Black and White as much as other storylines. More than Heart Gold and Soul Silver, personally. But I think the ones that are going to be above it, you're going to remember a lot better. Now, people are going to hate me for this next one. Generation 5, or 6, X and Y. I am going to put in Give It Another Go immediately. I don't know what it was about X and Y. I just did not like it. I did not like the way it played. I did not like the way it felt. And it just felt overall like incomplete with me. And that was before I found out it's pretty much an incomplete game, or at least storyline wise. I probably have to play through it again because I played through X. Xerneas is really cool. I love everything about Pokemon that came out in Generation 6, but I really have to give it another go to really feel like, okay, I actually like this game now. I really appreciate playing this game now, right? Because Generation 6 had probably, I want to say, the smallest Pokemon like entries. Generation 7 might be up there, but pretty sure it's 6. Let me check. I want to say 6 had the smallest. Yeah, I'm going to say 6 had probably the smallest. I might be wrong. But out of every Pokemon that came out in Generation 6, the one that has probably been talked about the most that I thought was in Generation 5, to my surprise was in this, is Aegislash. Everyone's favorite Gen 6 Pokemon, Aegislash. Then it's Greninja, in my opinion. Because Aegislash's ability, King Shield, where he can transform. So instead of being like the shield portion where he has crazy physical and special defense, he just becomes super strong physically and specially, no matter how you want to build him. Because if I'm not mistaken, what it does is it takes your attack, special attack, and puts them into physical defense, special defense, and then vice versa when you switch from defense to offense. Super cool ability. Everything about it's super fun. It's just, I don't... Like Lysander, he was cool. I kind of like what he's doing. The storyline is up there, but I feel like there's some stuff missing. I feel the reason for that, though, is because that's the whole mystery of it. Like, AZ was really cool. I loved what they did with AZ and how he kind of explains what's going on. And then there's, like, Pokemon's kind of having, like, its whole, like, what is it? What's it called? Disney princess theory, where, like, all the games are connected. Obviously they are, because they're all in regions in Pokemon. But at one point, the whole, like, thing kind of gets kind of confusing, because with Ruby and Sapphire are different. This is what I brought up earlier, where I said they're kind of the same game but a little different. And Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, if I remember this correctly, they're in a different timeline. They're in a timeline where Mega Evolutions exist, so things go differently. So, like, it's kind of a little convoluted, but still kind of cool that you can go to X and Y and see stuff that, like, affected certain things. And then, like, in games later on in the road, they introduce, like, new regions that are like, oh yeah, this happened because this happened in X and Y, or this happened in Black and White. So I like that they're kind of doing that, like doing little callbacks on certain games. But yeah, I definitely want to give it another go, because I don't know what it was. The Mega Evolutions were cool. I think it's Professor Sycamore is in this game, is pretty cool. I love the whole aspect. I love the cities. They all look cool. But, like, the game itself, the storyline, the Pokemon entries, it just feels so small. Like, it doesn't feel like it gives that much. Besides Mega Evolutions, where it was introduced, that's pretty solid. But I'm going to have to give it another go before I kind of, like, redo where it is. So, moving on to the next generation, because like I said, I don't have much to say about X and Y. I just didn't have a fun time playing through it, and I've only played through it twice. I played X, and then I played Y, because I'm the kind of guy who wants to play through both games to get all the Pokemon I can, and then bring them to a newer game, like all the legendaries and stuff. I just probably have to play through it again. If I do play through it again, I'll probably play through X because I really do like Xerneas more than Yveltal. Yveltal probably has the cooler design, but Xerneas just looks cooler to me. And now we're going to go on to Generation 7, which was Sun and Moon, and then you have Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. To me, this is going to be probably above Ruby and Sapphire. I might change it as we talk more about it. So Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. This is where it kind of gets kind of, how do I explain it? Not convoluted, but interesting, because they start bringing things in that aren't technically Pokemon. They are beings from other dimensions, if I remember it correctly. They are not Pokemon. They are literally aliens, I guess, because they're from different worlds, so they are aliens that you catch, and the Ultra Beasts are pretty cool in that aspect. And their ability, Beast Boost, which is essentially like Moxie, except if I remember Beast Boost correctly, it takes your highest stat and raises it every time you knock something out. So that was really cool. The competitive scene with that was really cool. They introduced Megas again to Battle Beast, which I thought was a really cool concept, that you have to have these Pokemon be mega evolved to fight these things. It was really cool overall. I do like the storyline. I really do love the bad guys in this more than Team Aqua and Team Magma. But I think the thing that really kind of like makes it not S tier is the fact of, the way I explain it is, they released the same game just with 30 minutes more, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was only like a little bit extra. I might be wrong there. Please correct me if anything I say is wrong in the comments, because like I said, I did not do a lot of research before this. I'm just going off of what I remember. And it's like, the stuff they gave us was cool, but like they just really didn't do much with it. Cause for example, Incineroar, he is still used to this day. He is probably the best competitive Pokemon to ever exist throughout the recent years. Like, just every generation, he's still there. You can argue Amoonguss. You can argue Amoonguss, because that thing just does not go down. But yeah, you got cool Pokemon like Rowlet were in here. They go all the way up to, because it's Dartrix and then Decidueye. You have Litten. What is the thing after Litten? Let me look. It's Torracat. I forget about Torracat. Then you have Incineroar. Then you have Popplio, Brionne, which I haven't seen in a long time, Primarina. But yeah, you have some cool things in here. Like, my favorite Pokemon from this generation is Bewear. I love its design. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Pokemon. It's my favorite Pokemon design. But Bewear is really cool. I really hope they bring Bewear back in one of the generations, because I really like its aspect of Fluffy, which it takes half damage from physical attacks, but it takes twice the amount of damage from fire attacks, which I think is really cool. You got Araquanid, which was dope, with Water Bubble, which I think it takes half damage from fire type moves. Let me look. Water Bubble lowers the power of fire type moves done to the Pokemon, prevents the Pokemon from getting burned, which is insane. And then Water Absorb, obviously, gets hit by a water type move. Then you have the Lycanroc line, where you have what is it? It's Dusk, Midnight, and I think it's Midday. Yes, Midday form. You have 3 different forms depending on what time of day or night you evolve that, which was really cool. You have the Oricorio line, which is really dope. Vikavolt was really cool looking. You have Crabominable, which I wish was a little better, but that's okay. You have Salandit. You have Serena. Golisopod was cool. Emergency Exit's kind of annoying, but it's still pretty cool. Polosand I actually use on one of my competitive teams, and he's really good. He's really good. He's really fun to play with. Savali was decent. The one Pokemon I wish we still had was Turtonator, because I think it would be cool if they gave Turtonator an evolution, or at least like a pre-evo, maybe. I think an evolution would be cool, or if they gave it a mega evolution in the new game, if they do, because I feel like there's a lot of Pokemon that deserve mega evolutions. Turtonator would probably be one of them, because I do love its ability Shell Trap, which is like, oh, if you hit me, I'm going to hit you for a lot of damage, because, I'm taking a hit from you and then throwing it back. I think it's basically like, can't remember what it's called. I think it's like, what is that? Miracote, and then what was the other one? Counter. I think it's kind of like that, but a fire type version of it. But it's really cool. Drampa was a really cool Pokemon that was introduced in this game, and probably has one of the widest like move pools I've ever seen on a Pokemon besides Mew. Because I know Mew, I'm pretty sure learns any move, if I'm not mistaken. Mewtwo is up there with it. It's pretty solid. The Tapus were in here. I wish Dhelmise was in newer games as well because it had a cool ability. It's technically the only Pokemon that has 3 typings, and I only say technically because it's Ghost Grass and its ability Steelworker powers up Steel type moves as if it is like it just powers it up. And if I'm not mistaken, it does the same amount of damage as if it was a Steel type using a Steel type move, which is really cool. The Tapus are really nice. The Solgaleo, Lunala was cool. The beasts are hit or miss for me, really. Like, the designs are cool, but, like, I don't know. It was kind of weird for a while. Like, I still like them. Necrozma was cool. Then you have Duskmane Necrozma, and then you have Dawn Wings Necrozma. What is this one again? Oh, yeah, Ultra Necrozma. So some of these came out after. So, like, Magearna, Meltang. Then you have Gigantamax Melmetal, which comes out in Sword and Shield, which I think is crazy. How is Zeora? Because there's Zora and Zeora. Like, they're very close in name. They're really cool. He really should have been electric fighting, personally, but, you know, it's neither here or there. Not much to say there. I do put it above Ruby Sapphire, like I said, because they introduced 2 things, or they introduced one and reintroduced another, and the way they introduced it was pretty cool. Like, oh, these Mega Evolved Pokemon can fight these Battle Beasts because they're super strong. Now, Mega Evolutions did not come in until after you beat the game, and they updated it, and then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon added even more Mega Evolutions, which is cool. I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for them to come back because if there was any gimmick that I would want Pokemon to keep, it is personally Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions are such a cool feature because it's in the aspect of, oh, if I can knock out their Mega, they're down a big play. Like, they're at a massive disadvantage, right? Like, Pokemon battles look cooler that way to me. But that's all I have to say about that. Moving on. Next is Sword and Shield. Once again, I personally think it is a... So if I have to go back here, let me change this real quick. Because like I said, people remember a lot of Gold and Silver. I'll put it back because they do remember Pokemon in some story where this is just story. A lot of people don't remember a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon in my opinion. So I'll keep this here. I will put this above Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, because an open world-esque Pokemon game like this was really cool where you can see the Pokemon spawning. Because this was after Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, I believe. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it is. But Sword and Shield was really cool in the aspect of, let me show you all these Pokemon that can just appear in the overworld. And it's very, it was really cool aspect. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I personally didn't see nothing wrong with it. I liked it. The way eggs were being hatched. Everything that goes with it was really cool. It's just overall a very fun game. I do love the whole aspect of the gym leaders in this, the bad guys in this. Bad guys personally are kind of hit or miss because if I'm not mistaken, it's Team Yell. And I'm like, oh, you guys are just loud. Like, it's like, ugh. But I do love that it was an open world and that you can see Pokemon. I think I will put it below Sun and Moon only because, if I'm not mistaken, in Sword and Shield, you don't see shiny Pokemon in the overworld. You have to encounter them to see if they're shiny. Just weird still. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they just, like I said, I already said everything I said about them, but they're just a pretty solid game. If you want to play a game that's really solid with everything, it's Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. If I am not mistaken, once again, like I said, please correct me if I am wrong. In Sun and Moon, I do believe they switched Leech Life. I think Leech Life got the upgrade to an 80% or 80 power, base power, instead of the 20 it was. And I also believe Flygon got Dragon Dance in this generation. I might be wrong, but I know there was some Pokemon that got Dragon Dance. It got weaker and slower, but got Dragon Dance. And I'm pretty sure it was Flygon. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Flygon. Overall, though, I will put it below Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon because Sword and Shield was very fun. I like the aspect of it. It was just like the after game was a little goofy. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. The Pokemon that came out of Sword and Shield were really cool. I thoroughly enjoyed them. Like I said, everything about them was really cool. Generation 8. So like the starters, first time that I can remember is that, because if I'm not mistaken, let me double check that I'm not saying this wrong. Out of all the starters, well, I guess Chimchar, yeah, because Chimchar is a monkey. But like, well, it's Chimchar, so you'd say it's a chimp. but it looks like a monkey, you know? Uh, but this is the generation that really got like a monkey that was a monkey that I liked that turned into an ape, which was weird because monkeys have tails. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure all monkeys have tails. For some of you who don't know, my favorite animal of all time is a monkey. I love monkeys. And this is the first time where we get a monkey that is, I don't know, that fits its typing personally, because like a grass type monkey makes sense to me more than a fire type. But then again, if it's a chimp, chimps are known to be very like brutal and mean and aggressive. But we had some really cool starters. We had some really cool Pokemon in this. Like, this is where Gigantamax was a thing, where like Pokemon get gigantic and they can attack 3 times, but they have different moves when they attack. That, like, you know, the moves can attack, boost your entire team's attack, defense, speed, whatever. If you're in a double battle, it boosts yours while you're in there. It's over cool. Like, Gigantamax was a cool ability, but it was kind of like, I don't know. It just made it feel like Pokemon battles took 98 years. The frames would drop. Things wouldn't work the way they're supposed to. But overall, the stuff that was introduced in this generation had a lot of solid designs. For example, Rillaboom, you have Cinderace had a solid design. Corviknight had a really cool design. Inteleon had a cool design. Dreadnought, super dope design. Who was another one that had a cool design here? Oh, how did I forget? Toxtricity, Amped, and Low-Key were some of the coolest things. And I forgot how you evolve them. It's the nature, I think it is. If they have certain natures, they evolve differently, which is super cool. I love that. This is where we get our first taste of Poltegeist, which is pretty cool. It comes from Sinistea. And then you have Hatterene, which is a pretty cool Pokemon. Grimmsnarl, another Pokemon that's in almost every team that I've played so far in the last couple months. Solid Pokemon. There's just a lot of cool Pokemon that come out of here. Some I wish I could have seen more of. Duraludon, this is where you get introduced. Second Pokemon to have Steel Dragon type. Dragapult, which I don't see very much of, but probably one of the coolest designs. Probably the sickest design out of all of them, personally, out of everything that's in here. Yeah, now that I look back, it probably has one of the sickest designs. Like, I think it's up there with Toxtricity Gigantamax. One of the sickest designs. I think the coolest Gigantamax design, though, overall, is between Orbeetle, which is super cool, and then Toxtricity. Those two have some solid designs. The legendaries in here are pretty cool. You have Urshifu, and then you got yourself a Zycan and Zamazenta. Eternatus, which I think is a Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, unless I forgot the story about that part, where I don't think it is. I think it's an alien. I might be wrong. And you get new Reggies. You got Regieleki, which you do see sometimes. Regidrago. Moderately, you see these two. You have Glastrier, you have Spectrier, and then you have, what is this thing's name? Calyrex, which actually speaks English, which is really cool. I love its storyline. You can mix them together to get the Ice Rider Calyrex or the Shadow Rider Calyrex. Then you have some Pokemon that come from a different game that are in Generation 8, which I didn't know. Well, they are, because technically that's what they come out in. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very fun game. And like I said, it's Sword and Shield was like the basis of the open worldness to things, where you can just go to certain places and do what you want. Sword and Shield was like the stepping stone for that, in my opinion, for another game that's going to come out, which is phenomenal in my opinion. So staying in Gen 8, we're still talking about Gen 8, Pokemon Arceus is going above Generation 4 and is going, can't be biased. I cannot be biased. Personally, I would have put it like here as one of the better games, but because I see so many YouTubers, Twitch streamers, friends, family members keep going back to Generation 1 and 4, I'm going to put it at the bottom of S tier. But Pokemon Legends Arceus is probably one of the most challenging games, not just for difficulty by its like alone, but because now, for some of you who don't know, Pokemon is turn-based. So it's like I go first because I'm faster than you, then you go, then I go, then you go, unless there is an item you use or an ability that lets you go first, or a move you use that lets you go first, or switches the turn order. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like an Uno reverse, where it switches who goes first, who goes last. Pokemon Arceus just throws that all out the window. It really does. For example, I had a level 100 Dialga in the game. A level 10, what was it, Bidoof, I think it was, outsped me or got to go first. It's a really, really weird concept because they have quick style, which lets you go first, strong style, which is like using a hyper beam. It's like you use a strong style, which does more damage, but you have to like rest a turn and then go again the next turn or the following turn. But like I was using a quick style, I think it was like a Roar of Time on it. It used a quick style tackle and still outsped me. It's weird. The game mechanics of that game are weird, but I really like them. They introduced some new evolutions in the game. For example, we have Kleavor, who is a bug rock type and evolves from Scyther. So Scyther has a new evolution, and the cool thing about Kleavor is it has a move. Let me see what it was called. It's essentially Stone Axe. What Stone Axe does is it's a 65 base power move, 90% accuracy. The user swings a stone axe at its target, aiming to land a critical hit. Stone splinters left behind this attack continue to damage the target for several turns. So if I'm not mistaken, essentially what that is it is stealth rocks in a move, which is insane to me. So you hit the Pokemon with the move, even if it resists it or even if it like takes normal damage or twice as much damage, it's going to scatter rocks. So every time someone comes in, it gets damaged more. It's insane. Then you got Weirdeer, which is the evolution of, I think it is Stantler. I don't know why I thought your name was something else. But yeah, this is an evolution a lot of people got excited for. Excuse me too. But the reason why people got excited for it is because it's an evolution for a Pokemon that no one saw coming, personally. Like, I don't think anyone looked at a Stantler and was like, yeah, this is going to be an evolution. But in order to evolve this is what I like about these new evolutions. You have to evolve them at certain points in the game or like do certain things. Like this one is you have to use the move Psyshield Bash 20 times in Agile style. And then you get it. It's really weird. Ursaluna, which is the evolution of Ursaring. Super good Pokemon, both the physical and the special type of this Pokemon. In order to get this one, by the way, too, in order to evolve the Ursaluna into, or the Ursaring into an Ursaluna, you have to find an object that's called the Peat Block, which you can find by digging in random places. I don't know if Pokemon hold them, but I know digging in random places is what I had to do. And then you have to use it during a full moon in the game. Was that kind of a pain to do? Yes, it was. Did I keep doing it until I got it? Yes. It was kind of a pain, but overall it was pretty cool. And then they introduced Ursaluna Blood Moon in the DLC of a game, which was really cool. And the next game that I'll talk about, which all of its abilities are stupid good. It's insane. Because its hidden ability lets you hit things. Its accuracy cannot be lowered, and it hits ghost types and with normal type and fighting type moves. It's so stupid, but so good. That Pokemon is still uncompetitive, and I can understand why. This is where we also get the next edition of the genies. We have Enamorus, which in my opinion has just an ugly design. It's a snapping turtle from what it looks like. It's just ugly. It's a fairy flying type for somebody who don't know, because all of the like Tornaduses or like Atis things. So like you have Thundurus, which is electric flying. You have Tornadus, which is just the only pure flying Pokemon. And then you have Landorus, which is ground flying. Yeah. Now that I think about it, hold on. I'm pretty sure. Sorry for going back again, but I am more than positive that. Yeah, so you're that. And if I'm not mistaken, is this a normal flying type? Are you flying? I lied. I forgot. Rookidee is the second pure flying type. I was like, I'm pretty sure there was a Pokemon that was introduced that's just pure flying. Okay, yeah. Thought so. But yeah, those are the Pokemon that I thought were really good. Like I said, if you want to play any game, like just to get into Pokemon, you don't even have to play any of them. The Let's Go series is really good to play. They're really good to play. Pokemon Generation 4 is good to just start in. Pokemon Legends Arceus is probably one of the best games to start in if you want to play like more of like the open RPG. But it's pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very nice. Overall, I would say if you want to play a game, play Pokemon Arceus or Let's Go. It was very fun to play. I liked it. 1 sec, I'm gonna answer this. But yeah, overall it was very fun. I liked it. It's probably one of the best Pokemon games I played in a while. I just wish they tweaked the battle system a little more. But it has the one thing that every fan of Pokemon wish every other game of Pokemon had, and that is the shiny noise. For some of you who don't know, there has never been a shiny noise that I'm aware of in a game. And what I mean by a shiny noise is not the one you see when you are in a battle with it. It is one that you see when it is out in the wild. So Pokemon is now in a place where Pokemon pop up and you see them roaming freely in the overworld. When a shiny Pokemon appears, there is no noise for it that I am aware of. Pokemon Legends Arceus, when you hear that thing, it's like ding, like you hear it loud and clear. Like even me, I got a shiny Swinub by hearing it. I didn't see it. I didn't know where it was. I just heard a ding, and I stopped moving. I'm like, all right, it's around me somewhere. Went for it, looked for it, got it. Now I have a shiny Mamoswine, and I'm happy. I didn't even hunt for it. I just randomly encountered it. So, go me. But yeah, it's really cool. A lot of people wish they're still hoping, I should say. They're still hoping that they keep that in Legends, Pokemon Legends ZA, or just Z, because it's a really cool concept. We like a community, if I could speak for the community, I think that's just something we would like, is to have that just overall. And it's just it's really fun, really cool time. And yeah, it has the interesting things in it. A lot of stuff came out of it, like the Bascu Legions. They come from, I just had it. What's that fish's name? There's a red stripe and a blue stripe of Basculin? Yep, Basculin. So Basculin comes from a certain Pokemon that evolves, or it turns into Basculin is the stage, or just the base Pokemon. I can't speak. It evolves into Basculegion, and I think this is, if I'm remembering this correctly, you have to receive 294 HP damage while using a recoil move. So you have to use moves that have recoil damage in order to evolve it, which is still weird to me. So yeah, overall it was really crazy. Still a cool concept. I like that. I liked when you had to do special stuff like that. It is kind of a pain, but they did get rid of trade evolutions, and the only way you can evolve trade evolutions is just buying items in the game, like linking cords, which is pretty cool. I like that more than actually trading, because a lot of people don't trade Pokemon as much as I think they do. Like they do, but not as much as a lot of people probably should, I guess. Because the whole point of it's to collect all of them, so why would you trade one away to collect another one? You know what I'm saying? But last but not least, the final one on this is going to be Scarlet and Violet, which I personally like more than Arceus. Does it have bad graphics? At times. Does it have bad instances where stuff goes wrong, such as Pokemon getting stuck in walls, Pokemon disappearing, somehow you fight shiny Pokemon without ever seeing them or even encountering them? Yes, all the time. But even still, with the updates it gets, with the DLC it gets, I thoroughly love this game. Probably one of my favorite games, and a game I keep going back to play competitively, just to go back and shiny hunt. Shiny hunting is probably the easiest in this game, which a lot of people hated, which I don't care for those people too much, because it's like, okay, cool. Like, there's some people on, for example, Reddit that got mad that people save before encountering a shiny, because if you knock it out or if it runs away, you can just reload. You can just load the save file and then you're back before you encounter it, so then you can counter it again. Some people get mad at that. They're just weird people. I don't know. Overall, though, it's been very fun. I love shiny hunting, except Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon took me so long, not because I was using the wrong sandwich, not because something was bad, but because it would spawn in a wall that I could not interact with. I could not throw my Pokemon at it. I could not do anything about it. I hated it. Also, you can say I was using the wrong sandwich because I didn't know if 3-star sandwiches existed. I was only using 2-star sandwiches. But yeah, once I did my first 3-star sandwich, not even 30 seconds into it, I saw one, caught it, and I was almost in tears. I'm like, I'm never shiny hunting this thing again, ever in my life. But that being said, this is my list of Pokemon games so far that I have. I have yet to have one that's in C. And the only reason I have X and Y, I give it another go, because I feel like I did not give it enough, I didn't give it enough justice because, like I said, it was really cool that they introduced Mega Evolution. The story with AZ was cool. Lysander was, It just felt like there was a lot of stuff missing from the game. So I'll give it another go, and whenever I'm done with that, I'll come back to this list and I'll reshuffle some stuff around. But other than that, this is it for right now. It's not final. I can switch stuff around, but this is it so far. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. This is the point of the video where you can stop using me as background noise or just to fill the void. And you can click on one of the videos you see here on the screen, wherever I put it, because I'm weird and I don't remember which one I did last time. Or you can go click on my channel and find other stuff that you like, such as Pokemon, my Street Fighter series, or just random playthroughs that I am doing currently. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I thoroughly appreciate it. And let me know, like I said, if you guys want me to do another tier list of video games, of certain movies I've seen, anything like that. But overall, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one.